What's up, everyone? Jason Gilbo here with Rob Mazeika, taking a look at stacks for April 4th. 8-game slate. You and I jumped into Google Hangouts here, and we're just like Houston, 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 right off the bat.
Yeah, Houston's the top stack of the night. It's pretty obvious at this point. Huge tournaments, FanDuel DraftKings. Hope one of us takes down 100K tonight with one of these stacks.
Yeah, and there's a couple that we'll be looking at here. Jumping into the first game, Yankees and Rays. CC Sabathia, Jake Odorizzi. Good spot for some of these hitters, but probably not stack-worthy lineups. I mean, Rays considerably, yeah.
Yeah, you could potentially stack the Rays. I'm not looking to stack the Yankees. Odorizzi is a reverse split, and they mainly just have lefties most of the lineup, and they split up the righties. But on the Rays, I don't mind a Kiermaier, Longoria, and Souza stack as long as Souza's leading off the lineup. Longoria's crushed CC throughout his career, and so has Kiermaier. He's one of the hottest players in baseball coming off that first game and up-and-coming stars. And then Souza's just a solid player all around to round it off.
Yeah, there's big upside here. I mean, everyone's going to know about Longoria, obviously, just because you're going to see BVP throughout basically the next 6 hours for him. Longoria, obviously, in play. As you said, I mean, Souza, Kiermaier, I love these guys. I'm curious to see what they do. I don't know if Brad Miller's going to hit fourth or not. I mean, they have Ricky Weeks and Tim Beckham, and Derek Norris is even a solid lefty hitter. Like, they have a lot of guys that hit lefties well. Just curious where they land in the lineup.
Yeah, I think they'll maybe bump Ricky Weeks up to fourth or something, or maybe Beckham up to second, something weird like that to get those righties together. But Kiermaier is actually a lefty who hits lefties really well with a 353 WOBA against them last season. So he's going to be low owned, and he's good, potentially good option in a stack.
Yeah, all super, super cheap, too.
Yeah, super cheap as well.
Rockies, Brewers, in Miller Park, Tyler Anderson, Zach Davies. Looking at Tyler Anderson, not a bad arm, but, God, there's basically eight lefty mashers in this lineup right here.
I like Tyler Anderson as a pitcher. Just this isn't the right matchup for him. Going into Miller Park against an 8 righty lineup for the Brewers.
Yeah, and I'm looking basically you can do a lot of different things. I don't even mind a back half of the lineup stack, but for me, I mean, I'm looking at guys like Villar, Broxton, Braun, Hernan Perez. Villar on DraftKings at 4K is absolutely ridiculous for how well he handled lefty pitching.
Yeah, I'm looking at all these guys, and they also steal bases as well. And Tyler Anderson gave up 7 steals and I think only 13 starts last season. So it seems to seem like that he gives up stolen bases. So and every single one of these guys in this Brewers team steals bases.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Braun, all really nice price too in Miller Park. On the Rockies side of things, they're definitely lower on my list in terms of stacks, but obviously you can't knock the upside. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Davies. Gave up a ton of hard ball contact last year, near 34%. Outside of that, I mean, there's really nothing special about him. He doesn't miss bats either.
Yeah, he's just a league average pitcher. 330 WOBA against lefties. I like, maybe Blackman, Gonzalez, Para stack and round it out with like Arenado or Story if you could, but it's kind of tough to stack this team with them half being righties and lefties, and Davies being actually pretty good against righties, or at least average.
Yeah, LeMahieu always throws me off. I mean, I just never like adding him to the stack, and given the fact that if you want to run it consecutively through the order, he always throws it off.
Yeah, he does, and he's just a singles, doubles hitter too.
Yeah, so I mean, I like the power here. I like the lefties, but that's about it.
Same here.
Cleveland, Texas, next one. Martin Perez versus Carlos Carrasco. Martin Perez, obviously not a good arm, but this is a guy who does roll a ton of ground balls. I feel like he can be frustrating to stack against sometimes.
He could be, but he could also give up 10 hits in a game, and those add up, and those really help the stack. He won't give up a ton of home runs, but these Indians, they could really rack together like 15 hits in this game and just put up like 8 runs.
Yeah, I mean, I like guys like Lindor and Encarnacion, and then we get guys like Jose Ramirez and Carlos Santana who also turn around and hit from the right. So Brandon Guyer is a guy you can plug and play. I mean, I don't mind it in the stack. It's a good spot, good environment to hit in, but probably just more of a secondary stack for me.
Same here. I like Brandon Guyer a lot. 437 WOBA against lefties last year. It's just when Perez comes out of the game, we'll wait and see if they pinch hit Almonte or someone from Guyer at that point in the game. But we could also have guys like Encarnacion or Santana. You have to pick and choose on FanDuel which one you want between the two of them because they're both first basemen, but they both hit lefties pretty well. And then Jose Ramirez, he had a 363 WOBA against lefties, and he's a really sneaky option too, cheap as well.
I think given the fact that Encarnacion's only $100 more than Santana on DraftKings, easy choice for me there.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure Santana, he could be an outfielder too as well, right? No, they took that away from him. Never mind.
Yeah, I think he's gone.
Yep.
On Texas side, Carlos Carrasco is certainly an above-average right-hander. We saw Texas get to Kluber, mainly Adore get to Kluber last night. I'm not really looking to stack against Carrasco. I mean, I think people will take shots with Texas. I'm just not looking to go that route.
I'm not looking either. Carrasco, he's a decent pitcher, pretty decent splits on both sides, and really nothing other than a one-off on the Rangers.
Yeah. Seattle and Houston. Seattle, not a team I'm looking to stack. McCullers is, I mean, elite strikeout rate, elite ground ball rate. His only one concern for tonight is just walks for me. I mean, other than that, I'm not stacking against McCullers.
I'm not either. I like McCullers a lot as a pitcher, and he actually pitched very well against Seattle last season. But Houston, the stack of the night right there.
Yeah, you look at Iwakuma. He is done. I mean, gave up a ton of home runs last year in Minute Maid. I love the front four here. Correa, Altuve, Bregman, Springer, all really nice priced on DraftKings. I mean, no one's over 4.5, which is kind of rare for them.
Almost this entire starting lineup has over a 330 WOBA against righties for the Astros. Even all the righties. Altuve leads the team in a 395 WOBA, and that's insane. You can basically stack them top to bottom, 1 through 8, with the exception of Aoki and maybe Gurriel, and still feel good about it. You really just pick and choose what you want, and I think they're going to come in with decent ownership. They won't be the highest owned stack of the night, but they're definitely have potential to be the highest scoring team in the slate.
Yeah, and I tend to worry about strikeouts, but Iwakuma, I mean, less than 8% swinging strike rate last year, didn't miss any bats. And the home run potential to right-handers, I mean, looking 1.42 home runs per 9 to righties last year. So I'm looking for power. Vegas is as well.
Yeah, Iwakuma is nothing but a league average pitcher, maybe even below average at this point in his career. Wind's going to be blowing out if the roof is open in Houston, and it's definitely a good spot for the team.
Yeah, it really is. Cubs Cardinals next here. Jake Arrieta, Adam Wainwright. Wainwright was certainly not good. I could see him being one of those guys who just kind of limits the damage but gives up a dong here or there. I don't like the Cubs stack. I just feel like they're always super chalky, and I don't think they're actually that great of a stacking team, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, they're always going to be a very popular stack. But the thing is with Wainwright is you see that he did really bad last year based on his peripheral stats, a 361 WOBA against lefties, but he actually pitched really well at home. He only gave up 4 home runs at home the entire season. The WOBA was 348 against lefties at home, but 258 against the righties. So it might actually not be a bad spot for Wainwright in general.
I mean, it's bad weather concerns there. It's going to be colder. You're looking at wind blowing in Busch Stadium. I mean, there's probably not a ton of potential for anyone to really go off. I mean, I can take a look at the lefties for the Cubs as far as one-offs, but nothing stack worthy.
Yeah, nothing stack with for either team really. It's really tough to stack against Jake Arrieta. I mean, I don't care how good the Cardinals are at home. Jake Arrieta's a stud, and he just has elite peripherals across the board.
Yep, I'm in agreement there. Giants Diamondbacks next, Patrick Corbin, Johnny Cueto. As far as Cueto goes, I don't really look to stack against him. This guy, park factors, yes, they're bad, but this dude pitched at Great American Ballpark for his career. I mean, they don't really phase him. Doesn't give up homers. It just, looking at the Arizona lineup, I don't love stacking it.
I don't love stacking it either. It's pretty gross. Outside, you got Pollock, Goldschmidt, Lamb, but then really who else? Tomas, not against a righty. It's just not doable. Hopefully they'll bump David Peralta up to 2, and the front four will be Pollock, Peralta, Goldschmidt, Lamb, or something around that. And maybe that's somewhat stackable, but I mean, it's really low owned, really risky. I just don't see Cueto blowing up in this spot.
I don't either, and that's the only way is basically if they bump up Peralta to get the front four going. And on the Giants side, I mean, I don't like the fact that Span and Belt are hitting 1-2. If that's the case, they could move a couple righties up. But Pence, Posey, Crawford hits lefties fairly well. We know Hunter, Pence, and Posey, and at really nice price tags. Pence 2.5 on FanDuel.
Pence's price is just way too low. I mean, maybe his injury last year has something to do with it. Maybe the fact that he likes Nickelback also has something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe I don't like it. But Pence and Posey are 2 good plays. You can do a 3 Crawford. And Brandon Belt, he's actually not that bad against lefties. Yeah, I know Corbin's pretty good against lefties himself, but it's a nice ballpark for them. Huge ballpark boost going from AT&T Park to Chase Field. I really don't mind at least the Pence, Posey, Crawford stack. You have to leave Nunez off, though, just because there's no stolen base upside.
Yeah, I mean, and especially if he's going to be broken up in the lineup. I look at Corbin. Corbin was solid before the injury, but I mean, since then, I mean, we've seen flashes of what we liked out of him, but overall, gave up a crazy hard ball rate to righties last year. Home runs were an issue. Wasn't missing that many bats, so I'm okay with the Giants. I think they're going to come in a little bit chalky as far as maybe a 3-4-5 stack go, but one I definitely don't mind.
I don't mind either, especially with Pence, Belt, and Posey all having over 350 WOBAs against lefties last season.
Yeah, and toss in Chase as well.
Yep.
Angels, A's, Sean Manaea, Matt Schumacher. I like Matt Schumacher tonight, so I'm not really looking to stack A's. Angels are never a team I get right. That's just my personal bias.
Yeah, they're a tough team to get right. You got to get them in the right spot. Schumacher, yeah, you really can't stack against him tonight. He's a slight reverse split. Really nothing off of a one-off for Oakland, but I don't mind an Angel stack. It's going to be tough to do, and it's kind of risky because they don't show a lot of upside very often, but I don't mind a Yunel Escobar, Mike Trout, Pujols lefty stack. The three of them all had over 350 WOBAs against lefties last season, and Manaea's not the best.
I like Manaea, actually. I mean, I think he showed a lot of progression as the second half went on. I don't mind him actually on tonight's slate, but Pujols, Trout, Escobar, I mean, basically those three guys are what any opposing pitcher has to worry about with this lineup.
Yeah, that's basically it in the lineup. I'm not really looking towards Cole Calhoun against the lefty. And CJ Cron, you really just got to pick in between him and Pujols, and in that case, I would just take Pujols in this matchup.
I would too. I mean, prices are way too closely priced, and even with the expensive price tag of Trout, I mean, because Escobar is 2.7 on DraftKings, Pujols 2.5, it kind of averages out.
It does. Yeah, you could easily fit in Trout with the stack. He's actually going to be probably the highest owned player today just because he's Mike Trout.
Yeah. Padres Dodgers next year. Kenta Maeda versus Clayton Richard. You look at the Dodgers. I mean, they were bad against lefties last year, but you look at what they did in the offseason, adding Logan Forsythe, adding Franklin Gutierrez. Justin Turner, obviously, he hits righties way better than lefties, but it's not like he's god awful against them.
No, not at all. He's definitely a reverse split hitter, though. I mean, 283 WOBA against lefties last season. It's not great, but it's also not that bad. There's nothing compared to the 378 WOBA that Franklin Gutierrez had with his extreme platoon split, though.
Yeah, I mean, Gutierrez is a guy that you can look to play tonight. Corey Seager was decent against lefties. Gonzalez is probably the only guy that I'll leave out of the stack.
Same here. Personally, I might leave Turner out like myself and go a Forsythe, Seager, Gutierrez, Grandal stack or Puig. It depends on what this lineup's going to be. I also like, Grandal and Puig, they have potential. Grandal hitting the 2 home runs yesterday is going to bump his ownership a little bit too.
Yeah, it is. And his price dropped? 200?
Yeah, so, it dropped 200.
Yeah, I like Puig. I mean, it just depends where he's hitting in the lineup. And hell, I mean, if you even want to do a wraparound to be different, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's a little tough in the NL with the pitcher spot, and the Dodgers always putting their pitcher 9th, but you could definitely do it.
Yeah. I mean, if they explode for 10-plus runs again, I mean, hell, it'll be fun.
Hey, the Padres are a AAA team, but this AAA team, they actually have some options tonight for a stack against Kenta Maeda.
Yeah, I mean, Kenta Maeda is going to come in as a chalk. I like Padres as a contrarian stack here. I mean, I like Will Myers, Solarte, Renfroe, Schimpf. I mean, Schimpf's got monster power, all super cheap. And, I mean, you're just going against the grain here. And, I mean, sometimes that's what it takes to take down a tournament. Plus, you can still work them in with, like, the Astros and other names.
You can. They're all cheap. I don't understand Ryan Schimpf. He's got a crazy high fly ball rate, and then his home run rate's also insanely high. I'm just waiting for it to regress, but it just won't over these last 2 seasons. But you can really stack this team. You go Myers, Solarte, even Renfroe and Schimpf, the 3 big bats. Jankowski's got the stolen base upside. Even though Grandal is a solid catcher, but Jankowski is pretty fast.
Yeah, and if you look at Maeda, I mean, yes, pitched relatively well last year, but I mean, I don't rank him as an elite guy, and kind of, traded off towards the end of the year.
Yeah, and he's going to come in as the highest owned pitcher tonight, without a doubt. So stacking against him means all those people with Maeda, they're all going to go down if the Padres hit, and then you're going to go way past all those teams if you have the Padres stacking the hits.
Yeah, definitely. So it's definitely a contrarian move. But going kind of reverse here, or, looking back, I mean, Giants, Astros, Milwaukee are kind of coming in as the top ones here.
Yeah, that's the same for me too, and maybe Indians as well.
Yeah, so let's wrap things up here. You can head on over to DaveFantasyCafe.com, check out our great tools and content.
Yeah, good luck. Let's win 100K.